And welcome to the BCM podcast. I'm today's host, Brad Swail. Got a couple of Indians above me. Michael Searle to my top right. Charles Blain to my top left. We have our Twitter handles there. You can follow us. They're in the description below as well. Share with friends, subscribe, do all that stuff. Set up notifications. We are popping off on the shorts from last week, aren't we, Michael?
Yeah, we are. They're going crazy. My favorite one is the one on the Am I an Asshole segment where I claim that the girl who made the offer was the asshole, and Charles's face just goes, like, he was so not ready for it. It's good.
Well, a listener chimed in the Twitterverse and agreed with
that too.
Agreed with me. Eesh, that's tough. Maybe
but I just think that he is a fan of yours because he also agreed with you. I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago about the THC thing.
Or so maybe I'm just right more than you. I don't know. Anyhow,
or you both are missing the whole point of the segment, which is to choose a side.
No,
I chose a side.
I'm not going to be boxed in by your parameters, your societal parameters. Okay,
understood.
Well, we got a lot to talk about. The Epic City Indian statues in Texas. Charles is really pumped about that. Karmelo Anthony, Bezos, or the Bezos, had an all-ladies flight. NVIDIA getting some special treatments. Abrego Garcia, am I pronouncing his name right? Piers Morgan has some really interesting commentary on this, and I cannot wait to ask you guys about it. And we have a golden age of American innovation from the White House, and I am blown away that Michael Searle is not already all over this golden age. It's crazy what the statement says. So let's talk about this. Let's start with the Indian statues because Charles is really excited about the Indian statues. Who knows why? There's an Indian statue in the state of Texas. I believe it's the fourth largest in it's the 90-foot tall Hindu god Hanuman in Sugar Land, Texas. Let's go ahead and share this screen. And what was the lady that did was it Hermit? Something at the was it the RNC? She did like a prayer in Hindu. Don't remember that?
Hermit Dillon.
She's
now the Deputy Attorney General for Civil Rights, I believe.
Well, we talked about it, Michael, so it's a shame that you don't remember. But here's a big Hindu statue in Sugar Land, Texas. Okay, that's enough of that.
It's a good song. I don't know what it means.
It's popping off. They've got a good rhythm over there in India. So the H-1Bs were brought here and they erected a giant statue to that god. And I think that plays into the Epic City controversy that's happening in the state of Texas as well. Charles, what do you think about this big old statue?
I don't have a problem with it. When they announced the completion of it last year, I was like, oh, okay, like cool. I didn't really think much of it. For those who don't know, Sugar Land in that general area, it's very heavily Indian. There are a lot of Indians. I mean, just in general, that whole region is kind of a lot of Southeast Asians, but Sugar Land in particular has a lot of large Indian population. And I mean, I didn't feel any type of way. And this was a year ago when it was announced. And then suddenly there's like this massive outrage online about how dare we do this? I can't believe we allow this in Texas. But like, allow what in Texas? People to build a statue? Like, okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but it's pretty recent history that there was a lot of controversy about statues in America. Okay, and maybe this is just kind of like flying in the face of that. We can have an 80-foot Hindu god statue, and people are upset because we were told for a long time that we can't have statues of like George Washington.
Well, I don't know that anyone ever said no one can have a statue of George Washington. I think what you're referencing was...
I think people did say that, but that's fine.
I think what you're referencing is a period in which people were asking for the removal of statues that were related to slavery or, dark times within our nation's history, which you can't equate the statue of this Indian deity to, because I don't recall them. I think it's a ridiculous argument. Sorry, but I just I don't take issue with it, and I don't know why people are having all this faux outrage about it. Mind you, like I said, this one was last year. So I went to look. I was like, so what are the tallest statues in the country? Obviously, we all know the first.
Mount Rushmore.
Is that a statue?
Yeah.
I just came in hot. Sometimes you just go in with confidence. And
the Statue of Liberty. And then the second tallest is a statue that we have called Pegasus and a Dragon, and it's, as you would imagine, Pegasus and a Dragon. Then we have one called Statue of the Union, Our Lady of the Rockies. But then when you get down to Sugar Lands, like you said, it was, I think right now it's like the 5th or 6th or something like that. But then we have a bunch of other statues. And mind you, a lot of the biggest ones are in Texas for some reason. A lot of the largest ones, I guess we have a lot of space. But you have another one that's also in Sugar Land that was built in like 1980 or something. That's one of the largest. And so this isn't like a new thing. And we have statues of Greek gods and other things like that all across this country. But for some reason, this one seems to be striking a chord with folks.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. I mean, I haven't seen the outrage on the statue, but I did tune into a little bit of the outrage on Epic City. Here's the thing, folks, and I'm interested to hear Brad's take because he tends to like align himself with the woke right side of things where you're reactive to everything.
We got a real James Lindsay file on the show. I see.
And we're going to get into that when we discuss Karmelo Anthony, and I'm sure he'll stake out that position. But we have two things in this country that are kind of fundamental. One is the freedom of religion, and the second is property rights. So I don't understand what the argument is against somebody building this. I mean, they purchased the property, they owned it. Had it been 5 feet tall, would people have been mad? So we're mad about the sheer size of it. Is that the concern, or is it because what is the reason we're mad?
Well, and I think that is what it is, because all the tweets are like, I can't believe we have a 90-foot tall statue in Sugar Land, blah, blah, blah. You should be outraged. But how dare we allow legal immigration to get here to such a point that then people would build these tall statues? Like, yeah, if this was a 4, 5, 6, 7-foot statue in front of someone's house or in front of a church, no one would say anything. It's merely the size. And again, had they not been told to be upset about it by the internet, they wouldn't even know about it.
Right. So we should enact really stringent local zoning regulations that say you can't build things higher than statues cannot be higher than 15 feet next to a neighborhood. Or
excellent points. Excellent points. Wait, what? Do y'all think that I'm outraged by this?
I was just poking at you. No, probably not.
Okay, man, that's all right. I love being poked. Why are you putting yourself on mute? What's going on here?
Because I was about to cough.
Oh, okay. I understand the. I'm not saying I agree with it. I mean, it's not American, and I think that's why people are upset about it. It's not an American statue. It's not American culture. It's not American culture. It's not Western culture. It's not a lot of things that exemplify America, and that's probably why people are upset about it. I'm not going to lose any sleep over this. I'm not terribly upset about it, but I think that's why people are mad. No,
because it's not American.
Why do you say it with such disdain in your voice? Not American?
Because it sounds not real.
What sounds not
real? Doesn't sound like a legitimate argument.
Why do y'all think people are mad about it?
Because they don't like immigrants. I think a lot of the people who are upset about this don't like immigrants and don't like the fact that a number of immigrants have created a community and built a statue. Because they're also similarly upset about the Epic City, but I do think there are other issues with Epic City that are very different than with a bunch of people of a nationality and religion just moving to a place like Sugar Land and populating it. So I think they're different issues, but I think it's because they are upset. I mean, the tweet I just read you literally said, "Be outraged at this, but your real anger should be towards the people who allowed this through legal immigration." Like that's
who tweeted that? Was that Donald Trump or was that
Well, this isn't really. I mean,
62.
Well, this is a Texas issue, so it's not. Donald Trump hasn't weighed in, but it's a group called True Texas Project.
Okay, True Texas Project. Okay. Yeah, I understand people's. I don't know if people are losing sleep about this. I think you should there's probably more important things that you should be concerned about. But I think over the years, people it was not just Confederate statues. It was American statues. And it was not just former slave owner statues. It was the founding father statues. It was Jefferson in Virginia. They were trying to take his down. Like the all sorts of historical American statues were being vilified from all walks of life. And so people are, I think, maybe have some PTSD from that and saying, okay, well, hold on. Like, we can have a 90-foot, Hindu monkey statue. What's going on here? And I think people are tired of being told that America sucks and American ingenuity sucks and American culture sucks and everything about America sucks. And then this giant non-American things get built in their community. There's going to be some pushback. I'm not it's not the Indians' fault. It's not their fault. I don't know how much they put forth on the idea that we should destroy, American history and, all that stuff, take down other statues. Maybe that had zero to do with it, but that's, I think, part of the outrage.
Yeah. There's an emotional memory on this issue and others where I think that the right is using this and other issues as a proxy fight for something they felt was wrong in the past, that what you're talking about, the statues being taken down, which shouldn't have been happening. So, but in doing so, I think there's a little bit of an overreaction. Would I want to live next to this thing? Nope. No chance. I'll go full NIMBY on that. I'm not living next to a 90-foot statue, but the moral outrage that we're destroying America because some person bought a piece of land and erected a statue. I mean, we could say that about every non-Christian building that exists in America too. Every mosque, every synagogue, every non-Christian, every Hindu temple, those are built too. This seems like a symbol, and it seems like there's emotional baggage being brought to this fight from what you described.
Well,
I want to point out, so the third largest, and I don't know what this number is, I think it's 6th or 7th, 2 of the largest statues in the world or in the country are in Sugar Land. There's another one, it's a Buddhist one that the Vietnamese community put up called the Sugar Land Quan Am. I hope I pronounced that right. But there's 2 of the largest statues there. That one was built in 1998. Nobody seemed to really say, I mean, maybe they did at the time, I don't know. But to your point, Michael, there is, along with this outrage, along with the Epic City outrage, there's been a lot of outrage from Texas Republicans about the number of mosques in the state too. I've been seeing tweets like, "We have too many mosques. I can't believe we're letting them do this." Letting them do what? Build houses of worship that you disagree with? Like, what are we supposed to say? There's a cap on the number of mosques that the state can have? Because then there were attacks saying Abbott and Patrick and you guys are allowing this to become I mean, I don't know if they said an Islamic state, but essentially that's what's being implied.
Yeah, I mean, but given the benefit of the doubt, if you look across the pond over there in Europe, whether their unfettered, immigration policies have brought in a lot of Muslim people, it has caused degradation of their culture and crime and some other issues. But that's that's a little bit different than what we're talking about here. I think
so.
How is it different?
Well, the Muslim immigrants have to cross an ocean to get here, whereas they would not to get into Europe. There's more. There's just a sheer the volume is more, and then when you compare it to the population of the country, it's more.
I thought you were comparing the Indian statue to that, but okay.
Maybe I'm conflating the issues now.
Okay, that's fair.
No, I'm just trying to give people on the side that are outraged. I kind of understand part of the concern is what they've seen happen in Europe, and a lot of Muslim immigration can lead to some problems. And that we've seen that in London and other cities in Europe. And maybe that's part of the concern here. I don't think we're at fire alarm status yet, but I can understand that frame of argument.
Lots of stabbing problems, Karmelo Anthony, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We had brought up Epic City, but we haven't talked about it yet. So just real quick, in case people are not aware of Epic City, here is the CBSnews.com breakdown. The developers behind a proposed Muslim community called Epic City have hired high-profile attorney Dan Codell to help them navigate multiple state investigations. We have Cornyn calling for an investigation and Paxton opening an investigation. See if this has some pictures of. No, they don't have pictures. It's a master planned community that is surrounding a mosque. I think it has 1,000 homes, schools, and I think it's centered around Islam and Muslim culture. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay. And what do you think, Charles?
Well, I think Epic City has other issues, like actual issues, like development issues that are getting in the way. Like I think there's a lot of
it's not dense enough.
No, that is not it. But here on the
you saw that there were single family homes and you got angry.
But on Abbott's request for the TCEQ to look into this, they found potential criminal activities. They found affiliated entities for discrimination violation of the Texas Fair Housing Act. They found financial harm. Somehow, Texas State Security Board is investigating financial harm. Illegal funeral service operations, violations of the consumer protection laws. So there's like other stuff going on apparently. But generally speaking, do I take issue with people going and buying land and building a community? No, I don't. We have a community here in Houston that is similar to that, where they kind of, I don't know much about it because when you drive by, like it's kind of walled off. But do I take issue with people Americans buying land, or immigrants who immigrate to America buying land and building a community? No, I don't.
Here's a video.
Welcome to the future of living.
It's the future of living.
To Epic City.
That might be the problem. The future of living. Look at that. Charles.
Nestled.
Look at all those front and backyards.
In the heart of Josephine, Texas.
Oh, disgusting.
It is about 20 miles and 20 minutes from Epic.
I like that as soccer field, so I might live there. I mean, this is a nice looking community, but it is Muslim. So we can't have
some
that.
Some of the accusations are that they're going to do Sharia law there, which I don't really know how you could, given that Sharia law is illegal in the state of Texas. So
yeah, people. I mean, if it's an insulated community, self-segregated community, and they start to enact aspects of Sharia law, not all aspects. I don't think that if they did the stoning of women that don't wear the burqa or whatever, they did that out in the public square, and people take cell phone videos, then they're going to know about it. But if they did stuff like that, Sharia law within the confines of the house of worship, then we wouldn't know about it, and maybe they would do that. I'm not saying that. I don't know
about that if it was a mosque down the street doing that.
That's true. 100% true.
So the issue is just that they live close together. Like I don't like. I
don't understand. I mean, I'm not. Again, this is something that's like. Again, I think people are a little miffed by it because it's not an American. It's not American, and they're being pushed back. They're pushing back against it because it's they've been told for the past few decades that America sucks and American culture sucks, and immigrants
are. You genuinely believe that's why people are pushing back, and not because it's Muslims. You really believe that it's all of that stuff, and not simply. Do you not remember the massive Sharia law scare of 2015, 2016 when that's all the legislator could talk about? And you think this has more to do.
I remember the Islam scare after 9/11.
But my thing is, you genuinely believe that this is in response to the way that.
I don't think Americans particularly like Islam, and I don't think that Americans believe that Islam is compatible with American culture. And are they scared of that? Sure, there's going to be some fear involved in that, whether they're afraid that they're going to enact Sharia law within the confines of that. I don't know if that's the particular reason. I just don't think that they like that it's not. I don't think they like it that it's not American.
Well, I mean, but yeah, I hear you, but we have so many of these communities across the country, whether you're looking at the Mennonites, the Orthodox Jews, Hasidic Jews,
Mormons,
Amish people. I mean, we have so many communities that are siloed off to themselves and kind of operate within their own confines and their own rules that don't get the same attention or pushback as this.
Okay.
It's true. My big issue with this is the discrimination based on. I mean, they're actively trying to discriminate based on who buys homes based on religion. That I have a problem with, obviously. But it sounded to me like they were targeting high-income folks. I think you had to be an accredited investor, is what I heard, in order to purchase a house in this community. So we're not talking.
So it's like people who just,
yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that people are. Obviously, I mean, I don't know. When anybody in the United States creates a community that is, I mean, I don't know how they stop other people from getting in. I guess they could just, not sell them the house or whatever. But when it's exclusively for one type of person, I think Americans usually get pretty pissed off about that. What is this?
I want to play this clip from Glenn Beck when he was asking Paxton about their investigation into it, because, as you know, you mentioned Dan Cogdell.
When you were under investigation here, your attorney that represented you in the impeachment hearing, which was all cleared, is now representing the developers. Does that cause a conflict of interest with you at all?
Look, I certainly didn't know about that until recently, and I would say obviously a little concerning that I wasn't made aware of that. And there definitely could be an argument that there's conflict, because I'm still being represented by him, and he's representing clients that we are investigating. So yeah, a little conflicty to me.
Well,
strategic hire.
Strategic what?
Strategic hire.
Yes.
I listened to a video of the developers talking about like the team they assembled to get this through the permitting process and stuff. And they're like, yeah, we just hire the best people and we hire white guys. And like, they're laughing about it, which
I think people are upset because they're losing their culture, and there's no one there to really defend them. And you could say that maybe Donald Trump is there to defend Western culture in a way, but then again, he's also like, let's bring in as many Indians as possible, right? People are pissed off because none of this is American, and they want more American things, and they're tired of globalism, and they're tired of mass immigration, and they don't want an epic city. They don't want a 90-foot tall Hindu statue. And I can certainly empathize with that position. Like, yeah, I want more American stuff. I want more American culture. I want more Western culture. I don't want more of other cultures. I want to celebrate our culture. And I think that's fair.
I can empathize with that position, and that might be your position, but I think that is not the position of the bulk of these people who are pushing back against it. They might claim that to be the case, but if that were the case, they would push back against other communities that are doing the same. And it is specifically against
they may not know about
this statue with Indians and in Epic City with Muslims. So I agree that is an issue, and it's one that I think is important too, but that's not the argument the bulk of these people have.
I think the bulk of the people are very well read, and they care deeply. And if they knew about all those other communities that you're talking about, Charles, they would be just as upset.
What, the Amish? They don't know about the Amish?
They hate the Amish.
I would say if that is the concern, which I think is probably a conflation of both things you guys are talking about, I would say that they're directing their anger at the wrong thing.
Okay.
Let the main thing be the main thing.
Damn straight. Let the main thing be the main thing. Hell yeah, brother. Let's talk about Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo Anthony is the 17-year-old youth who stabbed what's the victim's name? Austin Metcalf. Stabbed Austin Metcalf allegedly over a chair. Austin Metcalf said something along the lines of, you gotta get out of here. This is not your place. And I think Karmelo Anthony said something like, try me, see what happens. And an altercation ensued, and Karmelo Anthony stabbed him in the heart. Now, I've listened to conservative commentators on the radio and other places talk about, well, of course he was looking for trouble because he brought a knife to a track meet. So he was looking for trouble. And quite frankly, I think that's sort of a weak argument, because I bring a pocket knife almost everywhere I go. I'm not looking for trouble. I just use it. I open boxes with it. I might cut a tag off something, whatever, right? It's useful to have. It's a tool. And we also talk about like open carry and concealed carry and carrying guns places. Now, Karmelo Anthony carrying a knife to a 17-year-old taking a knife to a track meet, maybe that sounds weird. I don't know. I probably would have taken that 17, taken a knife somewhere, maybe a track meet if I had one. But just because I have it doesn't mean I'm looking for trouble. That seems like a weak argument.
Yeah, it's a leftist argument.
It's a leftist argument?
Yeah, because that's what they say about guns. Oh, you don't need a gun everywhere you go unless you're looking for problems. And then conservatives push back against that. So
Kyle Rittenhouse, am I right?
Yes, you and your woke right are using the same arguments from the left.
Why y'all even like woke right?
He said it was weak. He said it was a weak argument in his defense.
Yeah, I said it, me.
No, I was just kidding.
No, I know you all, but now there's a give, send, go, and they raised I don't know, $500,000, something like that. And they moved into a gated community and like bought a Mercedes. Kind of weird.
We don't know that. And when you click the tweet that's been going viral about this, and you look at the top of the tweet, it says it's from 2000. It's a screenshot of his mother's Facebook post, and the Facebook date is 2023. So it looks like they bought that in 2023, and everybody's sharing this as if it's fact. I don't think it's been vetted. It could be true, but the date on the top right corner is at 2023.
Well, your favorite journalist, Benny Johnson, says, breaking, killer Karmelo Anthony is now staying at a $900,000 home in a luxury gated community, even though his family had requested the judge lower his bond due to financial issues. Neighbors were saying they aren't comfortable living by him. Murderers being rewarded. Benny Johnson, everybody.
Yeah, back to my original point. I think this situation is tragic. These are fucking excuse my French. These are fucking kids. They're 17 years old. But this seems like, to me, a reaction to Derek Chauvin, BLM, let's get retribution. It's a black suspect with a white victim. Let's bring the same level of energy to this fight that was brought to us in 2020. And I understand that because it was, somewhat ridiculous, shrouded in some truth. So I sense that that's happening a lot. However, this kid doesn't really have much of a leg to stand on, unfortunately, or I don't know about unfortunately. The self-defense laws in Texas are pretty clear. You can't use disproportionate force, even in self-defense, to defend yourself. So if he had fear of bodily harm, the guy didn't have a weapon, I think. And you can't just take out a weapon and stab someone because you think you're defending yourself. So I think that this kid's probably going to jail for a very, very long time. And it's tragic in some ways for both the family of the victim and for this kid who I don't know much about, but it sounds like he's going to be in jail for life.
Well, it's, he killed the kid. I don't know. Yeah, it's certainly tragic for him, but it's not equal footing here.
No, I'm not saying they're equal. I'm not saying they're equal. I'm saying both things are tragic. He's 17 years old. His brain isn't developed. He made he deserves some level of punishment for his actions, but
all right, you're the judge. What's the punishment?
Whew.
We don't even know the details of what happened.
Listen, Benny Johnson just called him a murderer, so he definitely is. All right.
This is my thing about all the commentary I've been seeing on social media about it. No one even knows. Like, has anyone produced a police report detailing what happened? Because initially there was a conversation about he was in the tent, the kid grabbed him, and then in response to him getting grabbed after he wouldn't get out of their tent, he pulled out the knife. I think the brother of Austin, I think his story somewhat aligned with that, if I'm not mistaken. We don't even know what the details are. I'm not saying any of that's justifying a murder of a 17-year-old kid at all, but to give a judgment on this other kid right now without even knowing the details of what happened. Like, there's also some story about how there was a fight the week before at a party that then carried over. Like, there's so much out there that no one has heard anything other than the couple of social media tweets and then like the race baiters on social media who keep feeding into this fire. So like, I don't know. Unless anybody's got more details.
Again, I think that there's this goes to the fact that our culture is just being degraded constantly by the powers that be, media and politicians left and right. It's true that if the races were reversed, this would be a national outrage. Like, it would be all over the place. And Austin Metcalf would be like,
well, to be fair, it is all over the place. Like,
yes, and I don't think that it's all over the place because the mainstream media, the corporate media, and the power, the DNC want it to be. They're probably trying. It's all over the place because of social media, and social media is pushing it, and conservative commentators are pushing it. And I think it's accurate. I think there would probably be riots if it was reversed. It would be a nightmare.
I mean, we don't have to speculate. I mean, we can, like I said, we can go back to 2020 and the George Floyd killing, and everybody rushed to judgment there too, and there were riots. And you're probably right.
We don't have to go back that far. Go to Daniel Penny. There weren't riots when he killed that guy, and I'm not saying he wasn't justified, but what I'm saying is it's an almost identical situation that is in more recent history, and people didn't riot. People were quite upset and blamed him immediately, threatened his life, all the horrible things.
Wasn't Daniel Penny the guy that shot the Garrett Foster?
The Daniel Penny, the subway.
Daniel Perry.
Perry. I'm sorry, Perry.
No. Penny. Penny, I think, is the subway, and Perry is the Garrett Foster shooter.
Okay, I'm talking about Daniel Penny, the guy who killed the guy on the subway because the guy was harassing people.
Yeah, who strangled the homeless guy that was crazy person. Yes. Yeah.
There was outrage. There was a ton of news stories. There was, oh my God, this white guy killed this black guy while everybody sat idly by and did nothing. But there weren't riots. I mean, I think and this is what frustrates me with whether it's the shootings, whether it's all this stuff. They're like, well, see, we don't riot when this stuff happens. The reason people riot when they do is usually because the person who perpetrated whatever it is wasn't immediately arrested. Whenever the person's when the person's immediately arrested, you don't have that level of outrage. You get a lot of outrage, but you don't see it spill out into the streets in that same way.
Well, anything else? We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I would just say this ain't the one. This ain't the one. Like, we saw where the left went on after George Floyd, defunding the police, all this crazy stuff. Don't fall for the same trap. People on the right.
All
on this one.
Same trap. All right. Okay. Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin space mission. Katy Perry was famously on it. His girlfriend, what's her name? Plastic lady. Lauren Sanchez. Lauren Michael Jackson Sanchez was on it as well as some. I think Gayle King. No.
Yes.
Gayle King.
Michael Jackson's innocent.
Michael Jackson is innocent, is what he said.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And they went up into space, and they had a good old time when they got back. Katy Perry, she kissed the ground. Now, Bezos and his Bezos went up to space, but this is the most important part, I think. Michael, what do you think about this? This is the capsule has landed. Have you seen this, Michael?
Yes,
you have.
Yes.
What's going to come out of?
It's a door gaffe, according to the New York Post.
Out of her mouth, but really her heart.
And is that Jeff Bezos out there right by the capsule? Kind of hard to see.
That is Bezos. Here goes Jeff Bezos to open.
You would recognize Jeff Bezos anywhere. Come on, lady.
Open the hatch.
Wasn't that just open?
No, he needs a tool to do it. Okay, so was it real?
No. What define real? There are like very few things on the planet that I could care less about than this. Elon Musk is saving people on space station, and Jeff Bezos is doing this PR stunt. Is it real? No. It's Katy Perry up in the what?
I mean, well, and Elon Musk had to start somewhere, and Jeff Bezos has to start somewhere, and Blue Origin, pulling off this space flight, and maybe he'll be the next one to save astronauts.
Probably not.
I mean, they're opening the door from the inside. It doesn't seem like, is that supposed to happen? It doesn't seem like it's supposed to.
So when you ask, is it fake? Do you mean they didn't go up in the air?
It's real.
Like they didn't go up in the air?
Is space
like
real?
Stanley Kubrick came back from death and filmed this like he did the moon landing? Or like, what are we?
Well, what is your question?
Like,
hey, however you guys want to interpret it. I'm just trying to have fun here. Get mad. That's okay.
Go, Charles.
I mean, I don't know what he means by is it real, so I don't know how to answer the question. Did they go up to the the Carmenter line and then come back? Yeah, I don't believe why not, but I mean it's what they did in this instance.
I think why not, Charles, is the firmament would stop them.
Yes, it would.
Other
stuff. Come on, Charles.
Oh my God.
Okay. Anyway, is it real? I don't see why not. I mean, they've done it before. This is not the first time that the Blue Origin shuttle has taken people out. They did it with Michael Strahan and Jeff Bezos and them a couple months ago. And I think to your point,
Keep talking.
I think to your point, the goals are different. Elon Musk's goal with SpaceX is to get to Mars. Blue Origin's goal is to reduce the cost of flight for tourists. Like he wants to be able to give tourists the opportunity to go to outer space and come back. So you have two wildly different goals, which is why you don't have Blue Origin trying to make it out that far. They're just shooting up to the atmosphere and then coming back down after 11 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm out on the door hatch thing. It seems like it wasn't supposed to happen, and kind of makes me think that maybe there's some other shenanigans happening. I don't know.
Well, it's Katy Perry too. Like, come on.
Well, also, I mean, I think we have to understand that this, like, you have wildly famous people on there. There was a lot of like backroom brand deals going on there too. There was like a the underwear that they were wearing were Skims by Kim Kardashian. So Kim Kardashian's family was there to see the shuttle land and go up. So you have a lot. There's like they needed that moment. So I'm assuming before Jeff Bezos and the cameras came up to the shuttle, they opened the door to make sure everybody was like okay and looked great for the cameras, and then forgot to close the door again before he came.
Here's the video that Jeff Bezos doesn't want you to see. Eat shit.
if it were real, would you guys get on this flight?
Absolutely.
Yeah, why not? If Katy Perry can do it, I can do it. That's my motto.
But again, why are we saying if this is real? They did this 8 months ago. Like with Michael Strahan and with Jeff Bezos, and like they did this exact same thing with a different crew, and it was all over Good Morning America.
Yeah, well, maybe Good Morning America is controlled media, and it was all fake then too. Charles, everything of that one
must have been. Yes,
no, I mean, I would totally go. I don't think that the door hatch thing that doesn't prove anything, but yeah, there's Blue Origin. I think there's probably a lot of there would be motivation to fudge this a little bit, right? There's investors, and you probably are going to get there's an IPO eventually, I'm sure, and you want people to look good, and so he's there'd be reasons to fudge it if they didn't have the technology ready. But I'm going to say Katy Perry went. Good for her. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Talk about NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, let's see. They have, everyone knows NVIDIA. They're the chip maker. I remember NVIDIA as a kid because they made graphics processors, and I was really into computer games at the time, and NVIDIA was the shit back then. So here's NVIDIA. This is from yesterday. NVIDIA says the U.S. government has banned them from selling H2O chips to China for the indefinite future. NVIDIA says this will come with a $5.5 billion charge to Q1 earnings. The stock is down over 5% on the news. 5% drop on a $5.5 billion charge doesn't sound like that crazy of a deal, I think, right? But what I think is interesting is that Donald Trump truthed this. Is that what it's called, Michael? Truthing?
Yes.
Okay, he truthed this.
Truth bombs.
He truth bombed it. He said that NVIDIA commits $500 billion to build AI supercomputers, plus in the United States exclusively. This is very big and exciting news. All necessary permits will be expedited and quickly delivered to NVIDIA, as they will to all companies committing to be part of the golden age of America. It kind of seems like, what's the point of the permits? Why don't you just get rid of the permits? Why do you have that at all?
Good question.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of thinking to myself, why does NVIDIA get special treatment? But he does say other companies that commit to part of the golden age of America, which we'll get to after this. Calm down, Michael. I know you're excited. Why have any of that? Why do we have all this regulation? If you just let American companies, NVIDIA, are you American? I don't know. Let it go wild.
Yeah, and NVIDIA is not an American company.
Okay. Thanks, bro.
NVIDIA is also total market cap is in the trillions of dollars, so $5.5 billion loss. It's just all noise in response. And question, maybe you know the answer to this: how is Donald Trump prohibiting them from selling chips to China, but with big tariffs?
I guess big tariffs. Yeah, I read today that the tariff numbers now are up to like 200% or something like that.
I think it was 245.
245%. That's kind of wild. Yeah, White House announces that China is now facing a 245% tariff as the trade war deepens. Is that high enough?
Dang. No.
It's not high enough?
Well, I don't know. It depends on what side of the battle you fall on.
Okay.
This is...
How much money did NVIDIA lose, in your opinion, Michael?
I don't know. That's all. This is all just noise. It's been 10 days of tariff wars, and it's all just noise. And we're going to see fluctuations in the market, and big companies are going to see big drops and big ups, and like all of this stuff on the daily basis is noise. There's a battle, I think, between more protectionist MAGA crowd nationalists and the free market or the free trade, old establishment who thinks we should have trade deficits with all this country and everything should be produced in other countries. And I think if I had to like guess what the art of the deal is here, I think Trump recognizes that in COVID, we had some pretty bad single points of failure in our supply chain. And he's trying to shore up 4 sectors with this trade war, or whatever you want to call it, with these tariffs. He's trying to shore up AI tech, all the chips, all the stuff we're talking about, which includes NVIDIA. He wants those produced in America. He's trying to shore up rare earth minerals that goes into all this tech. He's trying to shore up the pharmaceutical, like the main ingredients in pharmaceutical drugs.
Yep.
And then he's trying to shore up energy. That's what he wants produced in America. If we can produce those 4 things in America more than we do now, I think he thinks that's a win in the long run. And all this stuff that's happening in the short term, where there's people fighting over how much the tariff should be, I think it's all just noise. And the question to me is, which side of the fight do you want to be on? Should we make sure we produce those things in America, or should we not? Should we not care? And I'm going to give, again, I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm going to give the Trump team the benefit of the doubt and think that they know what the fuck they're doing, which I don't know that they do. And that's their long-term game with all this tariff stuff. And I think that's good for the country.
Yeah.
Whether he pulls it off or not, I have no idea.
Well, I think that that's an accurate assessment of his goal, unless he's lying, which is totally possible. He's a politician, just like any other politicians, and they all lie. But yeah, I think that it's hard to argue that would be bad for the country.
Well, the opposite side of that would be, well, then it's going to cost more. Who's going to take these jobs? Who wants to work in a factory, or, like who's going to take these jobs? We have the lowest unemployment according to the government in history, 4%. Who's going to take these jobs if we bring them back on shore? And then the other argument is, why is he putting tariffs on? I know we're getting in the weeds. I went down the tariff rabbit hole. Why are we putting tariffs on steel, for example, or autos? If your goal is to bring this stuff on shore, what does it matter? Why are you putting tariffs on autos or steel from Canada?
Automobiles?
Yeah, or lumber from Canada. Like, why are you doing that? I think he's doing it as a point of leverage to get everybody to come to the table. And then the alternative explanation could be Trump's just using the huge power of the U.S. economy as a leverage point against everybody. And every single country is going to come to the table and be like, what do we have to do to get these tariffs off of us? And he's going to extract something from everybody. Is that good? Is that bad? Do consumers pay more? I don't know. I'm not an economist, but I think that's the fundamental fight that's happening right now. And Wall Street's losing their mind because of a 5.5% dip in NVIDIA. I mean, what did it go up since 2020? Like
a gajillion,
400%.
Gangbusters.
Yeah. Charles, anything to add?
I mean, I think the reason no one seems to know the reason behind it is because I don't think they know. I think there's such a I think difference in the administration for the reason that they're doing this. I think some people in the administration want to pursue tariffs as revenue replacement to get rid of the IRS. Others want to pursue it to bring companies back to America. Others want to pursue it to do negotiating tactics. But all 3 of those are at odds with each other. Like, if you're using it as revenue replacement, then you can't use it as a negotiation because you need to keep it on the table rather than take it off the table. And I think if you have these competing interests, then you have no uniform strategy.
Yeah. Trust the plan. We're back to trust the plan. Like that's where we're back to.
Wait for the Kraken.
Release the Kraken, guys. And just on that note of abolishing the IRS, I hope you guys did not pay your taxes, because joke's on you, the IRS is going to be abolished soon. So you're going to be just that is not financial advice. Please pay your taxes, I guess.
I'm waiting for the Department of Education to be abolished.
Yeah. So you guys know this stuff. Where is Senator Chris Van Hollen from?
Holland,
Maryland.
Oh, look at you. I'm surprised. I didn't know that. I don't think I'd ever really heard the guy's name. I'm sure I have, but just didn't, Anyhow, Abrego Garcia, he's the El Salvadorian illegal immigrant that was
Venezuelan.
I think he's in El Salvador.
He's in El Salvador.
I know, but I think he's from El Salvador. It's one of the two. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Michael's fact checking.
Yes, I am.
And anyhow,
he's from El Salvador. You're right. I'm wrong.
Okay. So he's from El Salvador. El Salvadorian illegal immigrant, I believe found by a court of law to be a member of the MS-13 gang. I don't know if that's true or not. Court of laws get things wrong sometimes. But he was picked up and sent back to El Salvador, and he's in the El Salvadorian prison system. And we all know that that is a bad place to be. So Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland, he has this going on. He says, Mr. Abrego Garcia was illegally abducted by the Trump admin and by their own admission, wrongly deported to El Salvador. He shouldn't spend another second away from his family. I'm flying to El Salvador tomorrow morning to check on his condition and discuss his return. I can't help but wonder how the people of Maryland feel about their senator doing this for an illegal immigrant.
Well, his argument is that the guys are a constituent. That's like what he's trying to argue. And honestly, I don't think the people of Maryland give a damn. Like, I really don't.
I mean, you elect this guy to go represent you, and the decisions that he makes, you have to abide by. Otherwise, you get arrested or worse. And you're flying around trying to protect illegal immigrants. Seems like not a good thing to do for your constituents.
I mean, I don't disagree. It probably should not be his priority, but I mean, this is also not the first or only time. Like every single time something happens, these politicians run to whatever foreign country it is to get a photo op. So like, I'm not entirely.
Maybe these politicians should not be allowed to do that.
How many politicians have we seen go to this jail and pose in front of it like this is the waterfall in Bali and take a picture? I mean, it like. Christy Nolan's going around cosplaying all like I just like
Christy Nolan with her Brazilian blowout. We need more pictures of that, Charles. She spent a lot of money on that hair.
I think the key fact here was this guy MS-13? Because if he's not, which I think the Trump admin has admitted to, which puts them in a very significant pickle here. If he's not, should he be deported to some prison in El Salvador? Probably not. Like return him to it's El Salvador, but why a prison?
Wouldn't that be El Salvador's choice? Like, all right, yeah, he's not a member of the MS. He's not a member of MS-13 or any gang, so we're just not gonna. We'll keep him, but we're not gonna keep him in the prison.
I suppose that
Salvador does. That's not our problem, right?
I suppose they could make that arrangement, but isn't there some sort of agreement between Bukele and Trump? Isn't that why he was here? Are we providing funds? Are we providing the means to transport these people? If we're involved, then we can't just be like, oh, not our problem. And I think that the pickle that the Trump administration is in is if they screwed this one up and sent a guy that's not MS-13, he's just a father from Maryland and he has 3 kids and like he's a construction worker and whatever, and he's not a gang member, and they send him back, they are complying with a court order, which then the ACLU and all these progressive leftist groups are going to challenge them in court on all of these deportations. And so Stephen Miller and Donald Trump, I think, are digging in on this one when they're wrong.
Well,
I don't know what they can do about it.
This is interesting because, everyone was saying that the deportations will continue until the media catches one that grabs the national attention. We're, speculating there would be ICE agents knocking on, elementary school, windows and pulling kids out of classes, and that, no one's going to stand for that. They're going to see some mom crying on camera, and everyone's going to demand that it ends. But instead, it's this guy, which I think is kind of interesting. I think it's sort of a twist that we didn't expect. But Piers Morgan agrees with you, Michael, a little bit here. Here he is responding.
God dang, I agree with Piers Morgan.
He agrees with Bernie Sanders tweets something out in defiance of the Supreme Court and without any evidence. The White House claims that Abrego Garcia is a terrorist, blah, blah, blah. Piers Morgan says, was Garcia a member of MS-13? That's the key question. If he was, then his deportation is correct. Unless Mr. Sanders thinks illegal immigrant members of violent gangs should remain in the U.S. But if Garcia wasn't an MS-13, as he's always insisted, he should be returned to the U.S. I'm not done yet. Peyton S., I don't know who that is, says, what? Ha. Even if he's not, he's in the country illegally, the county. We returned him to his country of origin. He's back where he's from. What the hell are you talking about, Piers Morgan? To which Piers Morgan, this is where my question comes in. Piers Morgan replies, so you would return every illegal immigrant in America right now to their country of origin? That's 13 million people. So it seems like Piers Morgan has an issue with the number of people being deported. It's 13 million. And so I'm wondering,
more.
Whatever. Yes, I think that it's more too. Let's say it's, I think Marco Rubio said 25 million at one point. Who knows? If Piers Morgan said it was 50 million, would he be for deporting them all? Is there something special about 13? Like it's in a magic Goldilocks zone where you don't deport everybody that's here illegally? If it's 20 million, he's saying, okay, we got to deport them now.
I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying the number's too high.
Yeah.
I think he's saying that you can't, that's a lot of people. You shouldn't do that because he's always been about immigration. Like you can't deport that many people. That would interrupt things too much. That's too many people to do. These are essential to the economy, and that would be inhumane. These people are here. They have lives.
No, I mean, I don't agree with Piers Morgan on this point. I think that's what we voted for was, yes, I don't like the reality of what that means, but I think that's what people voted for. And he should be returned to El Salvador, not an El Salvador prison if he's not an MS-13 member.
But
he's here illegally.
And even if here's the thing, we're not deporting all of these people. Like as much as the administration has promised it, they're not going to do that. The amount of money, time, effort, the court backlog, everything that goes into this, they're not deporting that many people. I mean, they're going to deport a lot, hopefully, but they're not deporting all of these people.
Well, I was thinking about it, and I think that it's interesting. Like if it was, I don't know, 100 illegal immigrants, I don't think anybody would be like, you don't need to deport those people. It's only 100 of them, no big deal. If it was 50 million, 100 million people, that's way too many. You got to get rid of them. But it's in this weird middle ground where I think people like Piers Morgan can say, that's 13 million people. You can't deport. That's like a good number almost. Like it's in this zone where they're okay with it, oddly. No?
Oh, he's probably okay with it. Yeah.
Okay. I think that you missed my point, but that's fine.
No, I mean, I get your point. Like if it was 50 million, that would be too many. And 100 is not enough. And this is in some middle ground where you can just kind of ignore it and be like, I'm fine with it. Right.
Isn't that weird though?
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
Isn't that a weird thing? No, you don't think so, Charles?
That's a number in his mind? Not really. I mean, I don't agree with it, but it's just the number that he settled on for whatever reason.
What's your number, Charles?
Huh?
What's your number where you ignore the problem?
I mean, I don't think it should be ignored. I mean, I think you
should.
There's
one.
What?
One illegal immigrant. Do you ignore it?
No, I mean, that would be a really easy problem to solve. So go ahead and solve it.
Yeah.
So there's two Goldilocks here. Okay. Here we go, Michael. The golden age of innovation. This is from director Michael Kratsios. The golden age of American innovation is on our horizon if we choose it today. Today we shared the golden age of American innovation is on our horizon if we choose it. Today we shared the Trump administration's technology policy agenda. Let's click that. Remarks by Director Kratsios at the Endless Frontiers Retreat. I'm just going to kind of scroll down here a little bit because there's only one line that really matters.
Better have the word Bitcoin in it.
It doesn't. It has something way better. I'm just going to read.
Are you doing anything?
Yeah, right here. It says, stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Here it goes, Michael. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space.
Oh,
he said that.
That's where the UFOs are coming from.
That's from this White House. Oh, this is
Make it rain.
I see why this is. Y'all can't see that. I'll pull it up right here. I didn't look down at my screen to see that y'all couldn't do that. This is live, people. Here it is.
There it is.
Website from the White House.
Wow.
Technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. What is he talking about?
UFOs, man. Time travel. Interplanetary travel.
Yeah,
we've got
technologies.
it. Yeah.
Are UFO technologies our technologies?
We cracked Yeah, we've cracked anti-gravity probably in the 1960s, according to people I listen to, and some of those little things flying up there in the air are ours.
Well, a lot of people have grabbed onto that line and asking questions, and no one seems to know what the hell they're talking about. I know that you just mentioned a couple of technologies that purportedly exist, but you're talking about the people that you listen to, and
they're crazy.
Yeah, that's, some fat guy in a basement somewhere, and not from the White House. So
they have lots of times to sit and think.
Don't you think that this is interesting, Charles?
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's interesting to say that we have the ability to manipulate time and space. I just don't know that. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't practically speak.
You're gonna wish you had that technology at your disposal when these clips go viral. You're gonna want to go back and change some of the things you said. That's for sure.
About this?
Yeah, about this and everything else on this show. You're gonna just regret it. You're gonna give me that tech. Come on, Trump.
I don't know about that. And I don't know how much ability we have to manipulate time. Like, we can't, nobody's going back to like 1950s, that's like, I just don't believe that's happening.
Why wouldn't you go back to 1950s?
Time travel?
Not you personally, Charles. I know why you may not, but like, why wouldn't somebody?
I mean, I'm not saying somebody would not be interested in doing that. I'm just saying it's not happening.
Okay.
Show me a video of somebody going to the future or somebody coming. I mean, there are those pictures every now and then where you see, and then there's like a random person who's dressed in like modern day clothing, and it's like 1920.
Or like it's a statue that was carved, and there's like identical statues carved all over the world, and they're holding like a laptop, like that kind of thing.
I've never heard of that.
Brad, you're missing it. This is the most transparent administration in U.S. history. They're going to give us the Epstein files. They are going to give us the UFO tech that they've been hiding. Come on, Pam Bondi, give us those files. You got truckloads of those files. Remember, she said they're coming over on trucks. Where are those files? Plus,
truckloads of thumb drives.
They're going to give us the free energy and the ability to warp space and time because they're the most transparent administration in U.S. history.
Can't wait. All right. Well, it's been a great show. Love you both. This has been great. This is awesome. Please subscribe and share with friends. Any parting words?
We love you back, Brad. We love you back.
Charles, say it.
Respect to the law, respect to the law, respect to the law, and respect to the law.
Say it, Charles.
Love you guys.